Oh, hey, how's it going, everybody? And welcome back to another vlog. That's right, it's Thursday night, and last 2 weeks we've been talking about music, and we're going to kind of continue that. And I'm sure in many videos, including the last 2 weeks, you've heard me talk about Silvertung a little bit. Well, this vlog is totally dedicated to them. This weekend they're actually in Florida. I guess they were guests on the Bubba the Love Sponge show. They have some kind of an underground segment where they try to promote these newer bands. And, yeah, they also got interviewed by a local TV station down there in Jacksonville, so, yeah, props to you guys. But, really, what I'm doing this video about is pretty much my personal experience with Silvertung. How I got started into following them, and, you know, many of my notable epic moments of the band. And, yeah, you can see I've been branded for life. But, where to begin? Oh, well, it all started with me working at the local hospital. And as a lot of you know me, a lot of you who well know me, I do security work for a living, or security technician work, I should say. Well, I service this big camera system at the local hospital, and the one security guard there, who we all know as E-Wizzle, the one former stage manager for the band, he was basically putting his band whoring skills to good use. You know, and me and him would like talk about music and shit, and talk about this band called Silvertung, you know, and she'd go out and go see them. And as a matter of fact, if I got it here, he gave me this card, which I still have till this day. And this, we're talking before, like, ZZ came on board. So yeah, this actually goes back a good ways. So, finally, I guess it was August 2012. GMC and I decided to go see them for the first time. They actually played at Scotland. No, not the country where the men wear the kilts and there's nuts under them. No, we're talking about like a little town called Scotland, right out of Chambersburg. They were doing like a little bottomless cup benefit concert for the Scotland Broncos, and I think it was like $10 to get in. It was 10 Blade, and then Silvertung right after that, who were both out of Baltimore, and I thought both bands were really good. And of course, I left the show. Do I even have it here? Yeah, I do. I'm not fucking scripted. And I just about knocked the camera down, but I bought The Pawn after the very first time seeing them. I was that impressed. And even in that very first show, they were playing stuff off Devils in the Details. I remember hearing Never Too Late in that set. But that night they mainly did covers and a few cuts from The Pawn. But I think Never Too Late was the only song I can remember they played that was not on The Pawn, which of course later showed up on Devils in the Details. So, second show rolls around that I've ever been to. This time, Kixmas. And I've always wanted to see Kix in concert. They were really good. But Silvertung basically opened up for them, and Steve Whitman's daughter was on before Silvertung. Well, his daughter got finished up, and we're just waiting for them to set up for Silvertung. Band's running toward the stage, and the drummer, he kind of like walks up, or runs up behind me like, "Dude, I remember you from the hospital!" And it's like, when they were adding on to the hospital previously that year, I was doing, of course, the camera work, putting cameras in, and he did the electrician work. And I wouldn't have known him. I wouldn't have known him if he didn't even say something. But he's like, "Yeah, I hooked this dude up with a hat." And it's like, holy shit, you know. And honestly, I've been hooked ever since. That's really what got me into Silvertung. And so at this point, I only ever saw one show with Sterling, and that was the Scotland show, as I previously mentioned. This show and Kixmas and I believe it was the FOE in Waynesboro. That was the only two shows I've seen with, I believe it was Denny. He was a fill-in guitarist. So then, Pop Evil was basically playing at Breakaway 2. I guess at this point it was like April of 2013. And it was the first time I've ever seen a Silvertung show featuring ZZ after their long search for a lead guitarist. No, it's not beer, it's actually hot chocolate. Now, if it was Friday night, this would be a brew review. New one every night. Go see it. Anyway, it was the first time I've seen a Silvertung show with ZZ, and tell you what, it's almost like he fit in with the band, and it seemed like he was with them forever, you know? He was just a great fit. I kind of do miss him. And then, of course, you know, Crackers, and then Orchards, my first time at Orchards. You know, they just don't disappoint. Well, we kind of move on to Crusaders, and this is very noteworthy in my opinion. It was my birthday, you know, my 33rd birthday, and of course GMC said something to them, I guess, about pulling me up on stage and stuff. Well, it was a crazy night all around. I had a little niece on the way. My youngest niece, she was due to be born like any hour. Plus it was my birthday. And on top of all that, which, you know, it wasn't a big deal then, but it sure as hell is now. I met my now girlfriend that night as well. So, in a lot of ways, that show is very epic. I was on stage doing Jaeger shots with a band while my second niece was being born. And it's actually on YouTube. I had GMC grab the camera, you know, and get this all on video when I was doing the shots with the band. It's like, and of course, Speed, he hands me his drink. He's like, I don't drink! And he hands me his drink. Tell you what, I was feeling pretty fucking good that night. And then, about a month later, of course, you know, me and Tina, we kind of started chatting a little bit after that show. We probably chatted maybe every other day or whatever. And then, about a month later, we decided to meet up together at White Marsh at the House of Rock. And this was a very big show in itself. You had the DeVille Inc. 4th anniversary party, which featured, of course, not only Silvertung, but you also had Ghost of War, you had Corrupt. I know one member of Corrupt that had a crush on somebody I know. You know who you are. We called this dude D. Snyder. But yeah, rest in peace to Sean, who's lead singer of that band. He's gone way too soon. I was kind of shocked to hear that. He was only 50. But what did I say? I said Ghost of War, Corrupt. Oh, and Psychotic Melody. That was my first time seeing them. Featuring Quasi and Bobby Hammer. They were a pretty fun band to see. And I believe that was also the night that they revealed this. If I can get it here. They revealed, at the time, the new album cover for Devils in the Details. They revealed the name and everything. And they even told us not to post anything on social media about it until they released it. So that, I mean, in a way, that was a pretty epic moment. And, of course, Tina and I, we had a good time that night. It was the first time I really got to hang out with her, and we've been in contact every day since then. Okay, so about a month later than that was the official album release party for Devils in the Details. And once again, lots of good bands. I believe Psychotic Melody was there again. Paradry, and I know the lead singer of Paradry actually seen a couple of the videos I posted on YouTube. And, which, by the way, Silvertung Nation playlist, go check it out. There are video clips from every show I've ever been to of Silvertung's. But I have lots of other bands on there as well. But yeah, I mean, the Devils in the Details, great album. Blew the pond right out of the water. Hands down. And that show, the set they did that show, they did pretty much every track from that album, except for Hello. And then they, I believe, like at the very end, if I remember right, they did Slow Me Down. Which was kind of a different turn of things, because we expected them just to do the entire album. And of course, it was like the only time I've ever heard them play, or no, it was the first time I've ever heard them play "Used to Fly." It's a penny dropper song, you know, their little penny dropper. Still a damn good song. I don't know. I never hear them play it anymore, or very often anyway. I might have heard them play it twice after that, but yeah. Another really epic show, in my opinion, has to be Jimmy Joy's in Hancock. They did, they did New Year's like the last 3 years there, and Tina and I got to catch it for New Year's 2014. And Khaleesi's opened up for that show. That was the first time seeing those guys. And I come to find out they're real cool, I talked to them and stuff at the last show we were at. But it wasn't really just the band that was being so epic. It was just the environment that night. People were getting like boozed up and trashed, and there was like some crowd surfing going on behind us. Next thing I know, this fucking big dude, he's coming up behind us crowd surfing. I kind of had to duck like Tina's head, and it's like he fell right over in front of us and right on the fucking monitor speaker. It was crazy. Yeah, that was some shit. And of course, they hit up Orchards and Blue Fox later on after that. And then, Crackers once again. Now, this Cracker show, in a way, to me, was very epic. It was the time I was injured last year after falling on the ice and breaking my ankle. Well, the night that or should I say the weekend that I fell and got injured and laid up in the hospital, they were at Orchards again, and I was planning on going to see that show. Well, I guess word got out on social media that I was laid up and couldn't make it to see Silvertung. Well, they actually played my favorite Silvertung song, I Don't Care. Yeah, I really do care, but they played my favorite Silvertung track, I Don't Care, and they did it in dedication to me. Now, I wish somebody had a video clip of it. I never saw it yet, but if someone has a video clip out there, I'd like to see it. But yeah, they basically played that song in honor of me, since I was laid up in the hospital. But I was basically laid up in the hospital, and I had Silvertung kind of like playing on the laptop. I mean, it was like the next best thing, Got to improvise somehow, So, Crackers rolls around. This is mid-March. And my girlfriend, she actually had them arranged to have a seat front and center for me during that show. So I was basically like up there front and center just rocking out, my crutches under the stage. And then at the very end of the show, they actually took and put a sticker on my one crutch, and each member signed it. So that's pretty awesome. I mean, that's what I love about Silvertung. They really care about their fan base. And, there's a few bands out there that are pretty stuck up. But, I mean, I noticed this more with the more famous bands as far as being stuck up goes. And this is why I love the underground bands. They care more about their fans than anything. They cater to their fans. And that's why I love being a part of the Silvertung Nation, I met a lot of really cool people there. And I hope to continue to meet more cool people. And then, yeah, another epic show, in my opinion, is, I'd have to say, is Shiley Acres. Why's my damn computer freezing up? Fucking Windows. That's the only thing duct tape can't even fix. Alright, getting back on track. Shiley Acres. My first time at that venue. She's been there many a times, I'm sure. Well, this is a show that was supposed to be headlined by Puddle of Mudd, but of course, Wes fucks it up again. He gets put in jail. So then Nonpoint was basically headlining this show. And you had the Pretty Reckless one before that, and of course, Silvertung. And a couple little notables about that show. It's the first time they've ever opened up to the Dukes of Hazzard theme instead of the 8 Mile theme. And on top of all this, they opened up with Justified and then Coming Alive. Which, yeah, it threw me off a little bit, but it was different. Because you're usually used to seeing, like, Coming Alive and then Justified, To me, Coming Alive and Justified is like the We Will Rock You, We Are the Champions of the underground scene, basically. Like that whole two song, they must go together like Bonnie and Clyde. And then what? We've been to Hard Times, Mansion House, Crackers and Zippers. They had a little tour streak with Psychotic Melody to those shows, and I got to really grow to like Psychotic Melody a lot more during that streak of shows, just because they were a fun group of guys. Well, but at that point, Quasi had left the band, and so they ended up getting a new lead singer, but it's unfortunate that they broke up. And Zippers was kind of another birthday celebration, but I was being DD that night, so I really couldn't drink much. Because, we here at the Whip don't condone drinking and driving. So, yeah, so once again I celebrated another birthday with these guys, had a fun time. And then, we move on. Yeah, we were at Hard Times yet again, Crackers. And then, you got Brunswick. You got the Fire Hall. It's the same place where we had Kicksmiths. They've been doing the Zombie Ball right around Halloween for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years maybe? You could correct me if I'm wrong on that. Although if you're sitting there yelling at me, I can't hear you. Ha! Anyway, it was my first Zombie Ball. They did a whole costume contest and stuff, and Silvertung, once again, great show. I don't know what more there is to say about it. And then, what's notable about the last show at Hard Times... Actually, I almost forgot. I got to backtrack a little bit. I believe it was Hard Times on October 3rd. They had this Kickstarter program, which basically would promote the band a little more. You could donate some money and, you get, like, merchandise, prizes and stuff. Well, GMC made a rather generous donation to the band, and he had dinner with them. So, this is the one time that GMC got pulled up on stage with the band. Had dinner with them and everything. And you know how I just said previously how we're used to hearing Coming Alive and Justified at the beginning? GMC had the idea that they should switch up the list a little bit. So they started off with Slow Me Down. Yeah, it threw me, but it was still pretty cool though. And then, of course I talked about the Zombie Ball. And then, the last time at Hard Times, to me, is rather notable. After ZZ leaving the band, and it was unexpected, but at least it was all on good terms. And ZZ, he had a great run. I'm really going to miss him. He was cool as shit. So ZZ, whatever you're doing out there, I wish you the best of luck, man. Anyway, they were in search for another guitarist, they're doing that whole deal all over again. And so they came across Cody Red, or as we well know as Code Red. And that young dude can wail. I mean, he's really good. So Hard Times, the last show, was the first time I've ever seen Code Red on stage. And also, what's notable about this show at Hard Times, it's the first time Silvertung ever headlined a show there. And that show we had 16 Cylinder and Small Town Titans opening up for them. Which 16 Cylinder, I might have mentioned this in the last video. 16 Cylinder was a band that's been around since the 90s, and I remember hearing them, back in the day on the Homegrown show on WTPA back in their heyday. And it was, like I said, it was cool to see them after all these years, still making the underground scenes and stuff. Small Town Titans out of York, they're a class act. And of course, Silvertung. And then of course, we get to the last show at Crackers. $6 at the Stand. It's their Never Too Late single, and Code Red is on the cover. It's like their... this actually has like different variations of tracks on it. Like you got You Can't Slow Me Down. It's like the 2015 version, it says. You got an acoustic version of Burden, which I'd like to hear. I wish they would come out with like an all acoustic CD. That would probably sound cool. Then you got Coming Alive, the radio edit version, and then Never Too Late, obviously the single version, and then you got the instrumental version. But Crackers is that one place, what's so special about it is it's that one show where they don't necessarily have to impress a big crowd. It's the one place where all the diehards get together and they just have a good time, you know? And then you get your openers like Khaleesi's, which, yeah, they opened up last time, and a couple other bands. I think Aware was there one time. It was like a father-son acoustical cover band, and, all kinds of stuff like that. But, yeah, but Crackers, I mean, I only ever missed one show there in the 9 times they played there. And I feel like it's one of those places where you can get to know the band at a personal level, which, they're not just any band, they're like friends to me, And because of Silvertung, I'm currently in the longest relationship I've ever been in, And I mean that in a good way. I mean, I got to thank you guys for, helping me find my other half. If it weren't for you guys, me and Tina wouldn't be together. I met her doing what I love doing, seeing local bands, seeing live music. But I hope there's many more good times to come with Silvertung. And I almost forgot. I forgot to mention this hat. I actually got this at Kicksmith's. This is a hat that Dano hooked me up with. And I actually wore it all the way up to when we went to Gold Crown in Harrisonburg. And so I got another Jaeger hat that night. So I thought, okay, it would only be fit to have them sign this and retire. Ooh, excuse me. I thought it would only be fitting to have this one signed and just retire it. So, and also I got a few set lists, This one came from Tubby's back when, it was the first time I saw Super Bob. You could see One Oka One, Breaker and Faith, True Becoming, who's really good, and Super Bob, who's really, really good. You haven't seen Super Bob yet, get your ass out and go see him. And I think this playlist here was from the Orchards. This was the night, I'm thinking this was the night whenever they were at the Orchards and they got cut short. And that is all on video too. I mean, that there was a crock of shit. That show, I believe, was like Waylon and who was the other one? Damn it, why do I have to have a brain fart when I'm fucking taping? Oh, Lansdowne, that's who it is, Lansdowne. And there's like 2 other bands there too with them. I think, yeah, APF was the first band, I believe. But yeah, I think they only did like a 5-song set that night, which they had to skip out on the one song and then kind of finish things off a bit. And then this one here, I believe, I'm thinking that was from Jimmy Joy's, that night of New Year's. I was talking about the guy falling on the speaker up front. Yeah, and you can see 8 Mile right there. That's, what they used to do as their intro music. And, of course, I got a couple of ZZ's picks, too. Sweet. I got a few more of them. Damn, they fell on the floor, too. But, yeah, I just figured I'd tell my personal stories about Silvertung, my experiences with them and everything, and you guys haven't, for those of you who haven't seen them yet, go out and see them if they're in your area. I mean, they mainly tour, like, the 4-state area, like PA, Maryland, West Virginia, Virginia area. But on occasion, they'll make their way down to North Carolina. They'll make their way out to Ohio and Michigan. Right now, of course, they're in Florida. And like I said earlier, they were on the Bubba the Love Sponge show this morning. So, yeah, best of luck to you guys, and I hope you make it big. And show those corporates what real music is. But, yeah, and I'm actually going to link this on the Silvertung fan page, so in the comments below, I want to hear, like, your first, I want to see what you have to say about your first experience. I want to hear about your most epic moments, basically, of the band, and, what made you a fan and all that stuff. So, yeah, this is Dog here at 96.9 The Whip. This is the face behind the camera, behind all those Silvertung vids. And, yeah, I will keep putting on more Silvertung vids as long as I keep going to these shows. So, yeah, currently right now, we've done I've put up videos from like 28 shows so far. And yeah, so stay tuned for more of that shit. Stay tuned for more brew reviews, Sideshow Saturday, and all the other normal shit that we do here at 96.9 The Whip. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. And as I grab the camera like a tit, we'll see you later.